What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads, fathers, and male caregivers that's sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care. And being part of that movement, I don't like to say it's a show, it's a movement. We've reached out directly and indirectly to over 500,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And as always, I like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. And you're watching The Morning Vibe on the last Friday in July 2026. And I'll tell you, the weather has not been bad. I have to admit, the weather has not been bad in Toronto the last little while. We've had, the last few days have been beautiful. Warm, hot, but no humidity, but supposed to kick it up humidity-wise this weekend. And this is in a number of parts in Canada where I'm based. I'm in Toronto. It's a long weekend. In Toronto, it's Caravana, the annual Caravana celebration. Yeah, whatever, Caravana. But there's good and bad about Caravana. That's a whole other conversation. But we love the long weekends. And the weather's supposed to be at least good today and tomorrow. Supposed to rain like crazy on Sunday, but that's okay. That's okay. We'll take it. We'll take it. So it is the morning vibe. And I'm solo today. Well, not solo. Oh, wow. Oh, my goodness. We got, well, wow. Someone has just jumped in the green room. Summer is here. You can tell by the chapeau, summer is here. You'll see in just a moment where I'm talking about. But yeah, so morning vibe, always good to have you all here during the conversation. What's been going on with me this week? It's been a little bit of quieter week for myself. What can I share with you? Oh, launched a new show. So if you follow Dr. Vibe on YouTube, and why haven't you yet? Just asking. Myself and Emma Ansa, who's on once a month minimum, we've launched a new show called The Real Culture Report. And we talk about everything, news, culture, etc. So the last time Em was on, I asked the audience, I said to the audience, I always wanted to have a weekly show with a Black woman talking about important topics because there's enough of those other topics going on. And Emma said, yeah, I'm down for it. So, and we just ran with it, and we did our first show yesterday. So if you go to the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel or Emma's YouTube channel, it is premiered. And oh my goodness, there's piles of people already in the house. And it's not because of me, it's because Dr. Tachi is here and GR Houston Jack is here. And we're going to continue our conversation about Black images. Let me get the title right. Black Images in Media 2026. Where are we going? Where we are and where we're going, part 2. There was such an incredible response to this conversation. I said, let's do a part 2. And especially GR was just dominating the comments during that broadcast. So I said, GR, we're doing a part 2. And I nailed her down to committing to get on the show. She's never been on the show before. She's always been in the comments. Plus, we passed a big milestone. I think we had mentioned before, but we'll have her when she comes back on. She'll talk about her milestone that she passed because we got to celebrate. Oh, we got people already in the house and see what they're bringing their posse into the space. So I'm gonna shut my mouth because they want to watch them. They don't want to watch me. They're the stars of the show. I'm just fodder. So what we're gonna do? We're gonna do we'll do a break. We'll do our housekeeping, and then we'll get the stars of the show because I ain't it. The stars of the show with us. So let's go here.
Check out Primetime Saturdays with Aisha and Lala.
We're live every Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern.
With Aisha K. Staggers
and Laura Lala Key.
Where we try to make sense of the nonsense
going on in American politics and culture.
You don't want to miss it.
We'll see you on Saturday. Watch Black Canada Talking live on Sundays at 5 p.m. Eastern, where Dr. Vibe and Cesar de Mamusa give their takes and POVs on news stories from a Black Canadian perspective.
All right, so lots of things going on. So it's Primetime Saturdays for those who've been keeping abreast of that show. Aisha and Lala have been taking a little bit of a break, but I've been in communication with them even up to this week. And Lala said August is coming. So they are coming back sometime next month, all things being good. So check that out. But on tomorrow's show, we'll have Cesar, who usually is on Black Canada Talking on Sundays. He'll be guest co-hosting or guest appearing tomorrow. And he's going to be out in the West Coast of Canada. So he'll be on. So we've got a little bit of everything going on, but we keep things flowing. So let's get to it. Let's do the housekeeping. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. And like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and Substack. Join the Morning Vibe Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com or hit that link. Also, if you want to advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of, please feel free to do that. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Also, help shape the future of the Morning Vibe. There is a link there. Copy or paste, or if you're watching this on one of my platforms, the link is there. Also, it's at the top of the description of this show today. And take 2 minutes and share what's going on. Okay. We got a lot going on this morning. We've got the hat of the day, maybe the hat of the summer with us. And also we have a newbie on. So I don't know. Should we bring them on both together? Yeah, they do know each other. So I'm going to bring them on together because I wanted to shine the light on GR. But these two wonderful ladies know each other quite well. So you know what? As there's a song called We're All in This Together. So we're in this together today. Good morning, Dr. Tachi.
Good morning.
Good morning. You see what I was talking about? You see what I was talking about the chapeau?
Good morning.
I may just get on the plane to come snatch that, Dr. Tachi.
Well, luckily you don't know where I live. So
wow.
Okay.
Wow. That hat? Come on now.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That is a beautiful hat on you.
Thank you. Thank you. I
Yes.
didn't think it would be ugly on somebody else.
Wow. So for those people who are not familiar, the lady with the chapeau is my longtime digital friend, Dr. Tachi from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And then the lady with, notice that I'm the naked one. I don't have glasses and I don't have hair. So I'm out of touch here, right? The lady with the smile, the flair is GR is in the house. So Doc, how both you ladies doing?
Good. Fantastical.
Great.
There you go. And before we go any further, you got Posse already in the house. So travel _ says, good morning, friends.
Good morning.
Also, you Hackett 874. Hey, Ronald Babcock. My dog told me hip hop was invented. My wife, no, it wasn't. Sorry. Travel _ says, ladies looking I like that summer fine. I like that summer fine.
Forever summer for me. So
Yes, well, where you are, yes, most of the time it's forever summer.
Mhm.
If I have your permission, Dr. Tachi, I would love GR to share a little bit of herself with our family, because this is the first time she's been live. I've had the honor of being live with her, but it's first time with the Dr. Vibe Show family. So GR, share a little bit about yourself.
A little bit about me. Okay, so Gwendolyn, I'm a soapbox kid. I have a couple of podcasts. One of them is Girl Listen, where we discuss everything that is primarily about women, but also about our community. So there is some politics in there. There is some pop culture. There is some music in there. There's technology. But it's also about creatives and spotlighting creatives and how they impact the world. So that is what Gwendolyn is in a nutshell. I am a jagged little pill.
Okay. Can I interrupt?
But I am good for you. And I may cut you on the way down, but
Can I interrupt? All right. There's so many things I want to just briefly chat it with, but Jagged Little Pill. There was an artist who had an album with that name. Do you know the name of that artist?
Alanis, yes.
You know, I met her when she first started her
Really?
career.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
So when she first started her career, I had the opportunity of being one of the first Black Canadians to work as a marketing representative at a music label, major music label, which was Universal Music. And one day I was in the office and Sarah Norris, who was one of the marketing managers, said, Dr. Vibe, I have someone to meet. I go, and there's this young lady sitting in a chair like this. And she says, Doctor, I'd like you to meet Alanis Morissette. Mm-hmm. And she was so shy and so quiet. And then look where she is now.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Wow.
Other conversation piece I want to ask you, if I have permission. How did you start your, I like to say online show because everyone uses podcasts. So how did you start your online show journey?
I started it when I left my full-time career, and I enjoy serving people. I love retail, 25 years, 8 months in it. I enjoyed it because I truly enjoy helping people. And although I'm a photographer, you don't get the same volume of people that you do when you're in a public space or even over the phone. And I just thought, I want to talk about some stuff. I want to talk to a lot of people. And so I decided to go ahead and get on the tube. And I started out with my very first podcast. I just talked about this. My first show was about I Can't Afford to Marry You. And it discussed financial infidelity.
Is that still accessible? I want to hear that.
Yes. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay.
It was about financial infidelity with both married and unmarried couples. And it happens far more than when people realize. And it's just as bad as any other kind of infidelity. So, yeah.
Wow. I need to get the link of that show.
Dr. Vibe.
Wow. The next conversation piece. How did you meet Dr. Tachi?
I met Dr. Tachi by watching, I want to say it was Ron Foster's show.
It was Ron.
Yes.
It was Ron.
She was the guest there. And I was like, this lady is awesome sauce. I mean, she clearly has, in my opinion, the radio voice. You know what I'm saying? Like some people have that. And I was just mesmerized. And then she had the fashion. So I said, okay, I am tuning in for all the good things. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And one other quick conversation piece. You just recently passed 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is a huge accomplishment.
Yes. Thank you.
How did you feel when that happened?
I felt it was similar to finishing a marathon because it is a race and it's work. It's work, but then we just had our celebration last Friday because it feels like it was 2 weeks ago, but it was just last Friday. And it's a team effort. Like there are people who have to believe in your dream and what you're saying. And then people who also give you their genius and time, like Dr. Tachi, who's giving and given her time and genius to my show and so many other people. Like you don't do this by yourself. It's not a one person thing. It really is a group project. So it feels awesome to cross that milestone. And, we'll just see what the future holds. I'm excited, though. So excited. Excellent.
Dr. Tachi.
Sir.
Ma'am. Before we go any further, I want you to, there's something I always get you to do when you come on here.
Yes.
Thank you.
So for those people who haven't heard for the 10,000th time, my name is Dr. Tachi, and I am the founder of Indie Suit Media, which is an independent network for independent content creators. Currently, we have 30 shows on the platform amongst 25 creators, and we're on hiatus right now, but we should be coming back fairly soon. But guess what? You don't have to wait till we go live again. All you need to do is go to our YouTube channel and you can watch the replay or on demand of all the shows that we have right now. And they're awesome, including this show.
There you go. Ann Ellis in the house says, good morning, good people.
And hey.
There you go. See, so these two wonderful ladies, they have their army. in a good way. They have their armies that they have brought to the conversation today. So that is good. Before we go any further, ladies, do you have any questions for me before we get started?
I do not.
No. Mm-mm.
No.
No.
It's interesting because I'm always asking questions of people, and when I ask people, what do you want? Do you want to ask me what? They say no. Okay, all right. So let's continue on.
We'll save that for when you're on the show. So
Well, you can ask me here. This is a show too, you know. You can ask me here now. But let's get it cracking. GR.
Yes.
So let's get the opening thing from you. So Black Images in Media 2026, where we are, where we're going. What's the first thought that comes from you?
The first thought that comes from me is there needs to be, and I hate to use the word need and should, so please forgive me because you shouldn't go shouldn't on people. However, we have to sit down with ourselves and really think about how we see the world and what other messages that are not ours that we're bringing into the future and this conversation. And that comes from two places. I just watched Harlem Nights again, and I just watched Jumping the Broom again. And when I looked at Jumping the Broom, you have these two different systems, classes, if you will, of Black people. You've got your, if you will, bougie people who want to do things that are more classic and modern. And then you have your regular folks, your regular Black people who were like, but we always jump the broom. And when you think about it, we have that here now, that we want to, some of us want to portray this very particular image of what Blackness is, but it covers the gamut. It is city people, it is country people, it is the bourgeois, it is every single piece. And there's not just one answer of who is Black and what does being a Black person look like. So we talk about the images that go out there that we see. I want to see every single story, every single one, because we are this plethora of stories. And to say that we can't have the person who does XYZ be seen, that to me is a problem.
Tachi, you want to add on to that?
I would love to.
Please.
So a few things. 100% co-sign on everything that G says. I need for us to see the multiplicity of who we are in stories, particularly in stories that, well, all types of stories, but in storytelling that is fictional. I want to see this. But if we keep living out the stereotypes in real life, why else would fictional not mirror that? And I'm going, if you don't mind, I'm going to get a little controversial on a platform this morning, if you don't mind.
It's our platform.
Yeah, on the platform, our platform.
Thank you.
So, to the Blacks, of which I am one, I am very disappointed in you this weekend of these past few weeks. I have had it. In fact, I was talking with my good friend, Dr. Nikita Harris, who is the founder of the National Black Debutante Project. And you've probably seen her all over the place at this point. And I said to her, Nikita, I understand you are the one that is giving out Black cards. I would like to return mine, because if this is what it means and it's all this wahala, I will find another way of obtaining joy. Because I've been so disappointed this week, and this has a lot to do with our images, because we perpetuate certain truths about who we are based on what we say. And social media has exacerbated this. So you can probably guess that I'm talking about what's happening at Howard University, what's happening at Tuskegee University, what has been said about HBCUs overall. If we, and this is separate from holding institutions accountable for what it is that they do. But how is it helpful for us to perpetuate narratives that are negative about these institutions and these students and these people if you are not willing to step up and do something. There are too many keyboard warriors and too many fake floating keyboard warriors about this who have A, never gone to an HBCU, B, may never have gone to college, C, have never been in administration, faculty, or staff at an HBCU, 4, just want to be seen because it's social media and I want for somebody to recognize me. So this is the big thing. We want recognition, and sometimes it doesn't matter how we do it. And any attention is good, even if it's negative, right? So I've been looking at the comments, and what I said is I need to start looking at some puppies because I need for my algorithm to change. I'm tired of seeing all of this, but it particularly hits me because I am an academician. I am a professor. I have not only attended PWIs and HBCUs, but I have taught at PWIs and HBCUs, and prestigious ones at that, and some not so prestigious in terms of my college career. And so when I hear what we are saying about these things, when I look at how happy and overjoyed some people are to see Howard fall, because it is one of the top HBCUs, and there's sometimes envy, and sometimes there is this disdain because you think it is not worthy. You're waiting in the cut like a tiger waiting to maul for it to fall. And we do this not just with our institutions, we do this with our restaurants, we do this with our shops, we do this with our waiting in the cut for us to fall. And so when we take that to storytelling, why would the stories we see reflect good if we don't reflect good of what we do in real life? So this was a perfect conversation, because if we want to change the narratives of the images that are seen about Black people, because this is in the media now, CNN picked up the news about all of these things, it's in media. So if we want to change those narratives, first of all, we don't always need to be flapping our baloney lips about everything that's happening. Some things we need to take care of in-house. Number 2, when you do something wrong, own up to it, do the crisis management to let people know this is what's happening. Why are we protecting each other when it comes to that? I understand protection, but what happens is one side ends up looking greater than the other when there is fault on every side. Trust me, I know. So my final word on this is we have to reflect the stories that we want to see. That also means when you're making comments underneath videos, make sure it's thoughtful. If you have no experience in it, guess what? We don't need your input. If it is not moving the conversation forward, shut up. Shut it up. We don't need, shut up your mouth. We don't need to hear it. And I do mean to be this callous and cruel, because what has happened is nobody ever says anything to us or calls us when we make statements that are big. We just kind of sometimes, oh, well, they're Black. Well, they're allowed to. You're not allowed to. You are held to the same standard everybody else is. Just like you know, the bonnets in class and the house shoes in class, you're held to the same standard. So that was my soapbox moment, but I think it's related.
Dr. Tachi, sure. I think we can end the show now. show done. Show done.
Show not done, huh?
Show done. Wow, fire. All right, so let me see if I can put out this conversation piece for GR first, and Dr. Tachi can follow if she needs a break. Are there have you seen any recent signs of real progress of Black representation in media? And also on the other end, have you seen one thing that shows we're stuck? Now, I think Dr. Tachi has shown the stuck piece after her commentary, but GR, have you seen anything recent that there's any progress when it comes to Black representation in media?
You know, here's the hard part about it, and I'm gonna pick up some of what Dr. Tachi mentioned about CNN picking up on the story, and just media as a whole. Whenever it comes to people who have melanin, and a lot of it, their sole job is to keep pushing a particular story, a particular narrative. We know that. You know, we can look at the father just the other day who wiped out his entire family, including the pets. And his picture is one of him and his wife where they're so loving and we didn't see it coming. And yet something else can happen and it's some person's mugshot. We know that that's their move. As she mentioned, they are waiting for us to fail. Even we are waiting for us to fail, because a lot of those people, when they see a fashion designer who has to put things on pause because she doesn't have the funding, or that we have to stop doing XYZ, or maybe shut down this restaurant, it's like, yeah, I knew it wasn't going to last because you didn't want to pursue your dream. But that's a different conversation. When I go back to my hometown in Houston, I see a lot of small, and I hate to use the word small, I see a lot of indie movies and documentaries that are sharing other narratives about Black life. And because they're not on some large screen, they don't get the same clout or the same play or pull that some of these other people do. The stories are there. The deal is, how do we get those stories out? So unless you are active in some art community in your space, then you don't get to see all the stories. So when we talk about media, we talk about mainstream legacy media that personally, they're garbage right now. I read my news. I go back to reading my news because what they're putting out has a particular goal. And that goal is not to push our story forward. It's not to make you feel good. It's to keep you in fear and to keep you stifled and to keep you distracted. So I don't bother with that. I go back to the grassroots. I get into those smaller circles. So yes, there is a place where we are putting out better stories, our authentic stories. And then there is still a place where those of us who have benefited from this system of selling ourselves out and making money off the stereotypes, we know that that is still there. I don't know how you ever get away from that. I don't think you can. I mean, are there pimps still? Well, yeah. There are still pimps in the world, you know. I don't know they need to get all the shine and the play, but we know that that is still there. So I'm not exactly sure how we get the other stories to rise to the top beyond us sharing it ourselves, telling our friends about it, and help funding those projects. That's what I think could happen, but I do see some positive movement for where I am.
Okay. Before Dr. Tachi adds on to that, Frequency Event Promotion says, tell them why you are mad, taken back and frustrated, Dr. Tachi. Okay. Dr. Tachi, any recent signs of progress you have seen?
Yes. I think anytime there are people of African descent who pick up a camera and say what they have to say, whether it is on social media or on a quote unquote larger platform, more mainstream platform, I think there's progress being made there in terms of us seeing the image. I think part of the lack of progress has to do with the content sometimes of what's being put out there. Although I contend there is room in the space for lots of different types of content. But what we need to do is balance what we're seeing with some other types of content. I definitely agree with what G has said in terms of the funding of the types of things that we want to see and the types of stories we need to hear. There needs to be more funding of this. And I think that while there has been improvement and there has been change, we're so locked into a particular aesthetic and in a particular way of doing things, which is usually the mainstream way, or even smaller, the mainstream Hollywood way, that we don't see value in other systems of storytelling, other systems of distribution. And you can tell I'm pointing toward independent production, independent, not just production, but distribution, right? So independent distribution is really where we need to improve, because there are enough people, I contend, there are enough people that are making content. There is a lot of Black content out there, or content made by Black people. There's a lot of it out there. The thing is, we still only value certain systems of distribution. Mm-hmm. I keep saying this. I'll see something wonderful on YouTube or on Instagram. And what do? Because it is us. We're like, this is great. At Netflix, pick them up at such and such, pick them up. You need to be on are you saying you don't value what I'm doing right here? So it's us. Part of the issue, we already know what the issue that exists in mainstream. It's a very small old club, and they're not trying to include you in it. And it's not just for Black people, it's everybody. If they don't know you, they're not going to work with you. And the chance is less if you are Black. But what does that do when we start to do things on other platforms and you're pointing us back in the direction of the people who didn't want you in the first place? So we have made improvement, but I think we also need to change our thought process about valid channels of distribution.
Okay. Anything you want to add, GR?
You know, here's the deal when I think about just how we operate in the world, right? Like for the past couple of years, I have talked about unlearning what you've learned. And it does require you to sit down and say, are the values that I have, are they really mine? Because a lot of things are given to us. And Dr. Tachi and I, we've had this chat about what is enough, right? I remember her mentioning why she wanted to do what she was doing because she wants to invest in other people's projects. And I was like, perfect. So you get it. You know what your enough is and why you're doing what you're doing. A lot of us do stuff because it was given to us. We believe that these legacy media outlets are the place to be because it was given to us. We believe that if I go buy a Gucci or Pucci or Versace piece, and now I'm part of this elite club because that was given to us. There is so much to unlearn, to the point where when we see certain Black people, and I'm going to go to the grown and sexy crowd because nothing irks me more than going to a sports bar that has a dress code. It's a sports bar. Okay. It's exactly what it is. It's something close to Cheers. You go in, you watch your sports, you take yourself home. When you start saying, I just want to have a certain look, then you are playing into some politics and things that we have gathered from way back when you had to be presentable for certain people. We have so much to unlearn that in order for us, in my opinion, to move forward, it requires us to say, okay, we have been part of this system. I don't want to be part of that system anymore. I don't want to partake. And there is a way to find, in my opinion, a happy medium. But like, you don't have to give away everything, but you don't have to participate in what people are saying and what they're pushing. These stereotypes, they are just that, stereotypes. But then I go back to the question of, and why do you care what this person is saying? I don't care what white folks are saying. I don't care what the Asians are saying, the Hispanics. I don't care what most Black folks are saying. Who cares? Right? So for me, when I think about the images, when I go out and do my photography, I want to capture people where they are, because where they are worthy, no matter what they're looking like. And I get it. We have had this chat about the bonnets and the house shoes and the wearing the PJs. I get it. But I also get, I don't want people to keep performing, right? And as a photographer, when I capture people, I capture them where they are, as they are, because they are worthy in that state. If they want to go to some other place, that we can get there, but I don't want people to not feel as if they're not invited just because of that. So when we talk about the images of Black people in the media, I just want to go back to one thing. When we say media, who are we talking about? Like legacy media or just us? Because YouTube is open, Twitch is open. I was just at DreamCon when I saw all those kids, and they are kids to me because they were much younger, being themselves, showing up as themselves, and then sharing those thoughts on YouTube and Twitch. I was like, okay, so the future is bright for us, and they can see themselves. So, you know, we immediately go to the stereotypes and what we see on the big screen, but there is a whole world of Blackness out there that just isn't getting the promotion because it's not the normal Blacks. It's not how we see ourselves. Maybe they're a little weird, whatever it is. We all have these reasons, but we go back to, why do you feel the way you feel? Unlearn what you've been given.
Dr. Tachi?
Yeah. Can we go back to the original question? I want to make sure I'm answering you properly.
So basically what I'm asking is, again, what progress have you seen, anything recently, when it comes to Black representation in media?
So recently, as I was saying, we see these things. I'll talk about this in terms of Black progress. Let's look at it from a technological standpoint and a technological end. The fact that we have technology that is relatively inexpensive, that allows us to do things like go live, to pre-record and put on, even as simple as your mobile phone, that is also progress. And I think sometimes we don't look at that enough and count that as part of our win as well. Granted, it is not within everybody's reach. I understand that. But for many people that live in the US, especially, I'm not talking about necessarily globally, but that live in the US especially, those types of things, especially a phone, is on hand for you. Even if it's older, nobody's saying you have to have the latest version of any of these things. If it has a camera and you could still go live from it or still record, it's all good. You could still make content. So also look at some of these platforms that have cropped up. First of all, YouTube allows you to do these types of things and have your voice. Now, am I saying it is the great democratizer? Not necessarily, because we know A, there's algorithm. B, for you to even get to the point where you are, quote, monetizing or garnering lots of views, if that is your wish, it's a long road. So I'm not saying it is the great democratizer, but it does allow you something. So all of these social platforms and places where you can do it are things as well. Also places, well, and Substack is included in that, even though that is also a hard pill to crack. That's not even a saying, but whatever. I'm making it one. So then, then we look at some of these other things. If you don't want to, you don't even have to go through a traditional, quote, mainstream platform. You've got things like Mighty Networks. You've got things like School, where you can form your communities and broadcast to a very hyper-local or hyper-niched community if that's what you want to do. So if we're looking at it from the technological standpoint, those things are wins, because these are not things that were available up to, 10 years ago, we were just starting to do these things, celebrating 11 years on Mediascope. And as you know, because it's about the same time for you on commercial live streamed platforms, we were still using 2 devices if you wanted to go live to several different things. So now we have the ability to go live to several different places using one stream. So there are those types of things as well. I just wanted to look at it from a slightly different standpoint, but it takes for us to, number one, want to do it. Number two, know about these platforms. And then number three, seek out these platforms yourself, because part of what we all do is the education end of it as well. But I can't teach you what you don't want to learn. You also have to be responsible for your own education. So go out there and start doing things. Listen, the amount of things that are available on Google, I'm not even going to say AI like a ChatGPT or Claude.
Google.
Just on Google. If you just Google live streaming platforms or how can I, you'll get some answers. You don't have to wait for people to tell you. And if you wait, you may not get your answer. So that's my answer to that.
Okay. GR, anything you want to add, or I can bring up another conversation point?
No, I agree with that. Like everyone, I say everyone, there's access. There is access, and it goes down to, if there is something that you want to see, then you need to create it. You need to be the change. So if people want to see different images, different stories, then start telling them. Or if you're not the person who can tell it, but you know someone who can, then support that person. Help them get it done.
Stuff. In the house this morning, Mr. Roger Dundas, him and his wonderful, beautiful wife, Camille Dundas, run Black Canada's #1 online magazine, buyblacks.com. Says, good morning, interesting discussion. Well, that's what we do here. You know that. Another conversation piece for both of you. Are we at a point where more Black faces on screen are masking the fact that decision-making power off screen is still limited?
Are we at that point you're asking?
Yeah, are we at a point where more Black faces on screen are masking the fact that decision-making power is decision-making power off screen is still limited?
In my opinion, I don't think that's changed. I think it's always been masked and covered. If you talk to someone, there are people that will tell the whole story, but overwhelmingly, these are the same people that want to keep their jobs. So they're not saying much. They're not really talking about it. The thing is, you really have to be willing to, if you quote, burn the proverbial bridge, you have to make sure you didn't leave anything on the other side that you need to go back and get. And for these people, they're not wanting to burn those bridges because they're very deeply entrenched in that system. And I'm not downing them for that. That is how they make their bread and butter. That is what they decided to do. But at some point, everybody discovers, all you have to do is ask Don Lemon, Joy Reid, and all of these other people. At some point, that safe bread and butter will turn on you at the drop of a dime and not care. So you have to decide whether or not you're going to be truthful about, especially for people that are looking to get into the industry, younger people especially. You have to be truthful with them about this is what happens. I will say this, though. I think on more personal, intimate levels, away from the spotlight, many of them are being truthful about what this happened. That we're just not having these conversations in public, and they don't necessarily need to be had in public if you are still looking to keep yourself there. And this is not a rallying cry to say, "Oh, Black people, leave Hollywood or leave what." That's realistically not going to happen because we still place too much value on their system of distribution. So I'm not saying that's going to happen. But if you're going to stay there, when you see young people coming in, particularly young people of African descent, young melanated people, please say something about the real of what's happening. Don't mask. That's what I would say.
GR, anything you want to add?
I don't think there's anything to add to that one. I agree with what Dr. Tachi said. And it does go back to, like, if you are in the system and if you want to stay in that system, we know that if you say too much or do too much, they will block you out. So yeah, the people who aren't saying anything, they try to put food on the table, and that's their prerogative. So not judging it.
Cool. Question then, next conversation point. What are the most harmful stereotypes of reoccurring Black people you still see in media today? And how do they shape public perception and policy toward Black communities?
Ooh, Dr. Vibe.
Was that a terrible question? I can pull that off if you want.
No, it's not a terrible question, because here's what I think is the most, in my opinion, detrimental stereotype. It is the fact that we have so many, and I'm just going to talk about, young Black women who are working overtime to meet a white person's definition of what's beautiful. And I remember a few years back where at one point it seemed like every new Black artist looked like a Bratz doll. Do y'all remember that? They had like these really weird eyebrows and these big eyes. They were getting all this plastic surgery done. If anything is detrimental, it's that one. It is that certain message of what is deemed as being beautiful. So much so that all of these kids, they all look alike. They all sound alike. I don't know who's whom. I'm just, it's like, okay, but think about it. The only way to really stand out is to be an individual. But if you keep pushing this particular narrative that you have to be a certain type of beauty, that you're going to, and I know hair is a hyper political conversation, hence the fact that I don't have any. Well, I've cut it short. But you have to have a.
Just remember what compared to me, okay? Just remember the comparison. Okay, go ahead.
Yes, I mean, it is hair.
You actually have a lot of hair right now.
Yeah. I'm due for a cut.
Yes, true. All right.
But you have to have this particular look of beauty, and then you have to do a certain kind of thing with your clothing in order to get any kind of attention or to get ahead. If there's any stereotype that I would like to see gone, and that has been the most detrimental, it is that one, because it keeps telling all these other young Black women and boys too, that if you don't look like this, you don't count and you're not worthy and you don't matter. And in order to get in, you're going to have to sell your soul to the devil and give up what the good Lord has given you. Now, black is black. And it's some beautiful black out there. I mean, the melanin be melanating in the summertime, right? And when I look at my family across the board, it is amazingly gorgeous. Do I ever question why people do what they do? That's not my place. I don't question it. But does my heart hurt? It does. It does hurt, because your talent can get you there. But it goes back to, what do you want? If the whole thing is just to be famous and to be seen, then okay, have at it. But you know that it doesn't last. It never lasts. Those cosmetic surgeries, they don't stay. They require maintenance. And at what point do you realize it's too much and it's not worth it? Especially when on the inside, you're not fulfilled. So I would love for that stereotype to be burned. Like, if I could just burn it, that'd be it. But I think that's one of the most detrimental.
Okay. Before Dr. Tachi jumps in, we're gonna do a poll. So for people who are watching live, let me just, okay, I think I messed things. Actually, Dr. Tachi, I will let you, okay, we'll do this poll. So for people watching, which type of Black storytelling do you want to see more of? Everyday Black life and joy. Number 2, Black success in business and what that word is, and Black activism and community organization. So 1, 2, or 3, we'll be doing that poll in the background. Dr. Tachi, continue the conversation.
Absolutely. But can I add an answer?
You can do whatever you want. You know, this is your home too. Don't go there. Come on now.
Thank you. No. Listen now.
I know. You're like me. You're like me. Yeah, I know.
Yes. When you're in someone else's house, regardless if you've been there a lot of times before, wash your hands before you go in the refrigerator and say at least, hey, I'm going to go. You don't do that. That's not what we do, right?
Got you. Okay.
So in answer to the poll that you put up, I really am interested in seeing more stories about everyday Black life / Black joy, because I think everyday life for us is joy. If to watch television and things now, you would think it's all struggle and strife. It really is not. There are a lot of issues, but nobody, even in instances of war, there are times of joy, right? So I think I would like to see more of that, because it sets a narrative and this discourse that we are only reduced to our problems, which is false. Because if anybody knows how to overcome problems and have fun and experience joy, 'tis us. Yes. So I'm answering that. Not that you asked for that answer, but it was given. In terms of stereotypes, so you want a stereotype that you want we would like to see eradicated?
Yeah, if you want, I can repeat the question if you'd like.
Well, no, I'm thinking as it. I really. That's a really good question. I think I would like to, although I love the idea of seeing Black people as strong, because we're also human. And I think people ascribe this superhumanness to us, and it feels good to believe that we're superhuman, but then you start blaming yourself, or others start to blame you when you cannot achieve this or overcome that. And I think we need to see more stories of vulnerability. And I understand why we don't, because we don't want to be seen as vulnerable, because we're very strong, but it's because we've had to be to combat the things that have come at us. And I think the characters that we see reflect that. Okay, so I would like to see more vulnerability, especially more Black male vulnerability, so that there is not this, quote, monster stereotype or monster narrative that is out there. We are human. And if we continue to present ourselves as only superhuman, that's what the public thinks.
Can I jump on that?
Jump!
Absolutely.
Jump to it. Okay. We like a little Aretha. So so you mentioned the deal strong, and I think about immediately Tyler Perry. Because there is something about a struggle bus story, and somehow the Black woman overcomes, and woohoo, everybody's. It's like, first of all, if we could just eliminate the whole strong, even using that word, because it goes back to, especially for Black women, that we are just the world's emotional mule. Put anything on our back, don't worry about it, we got it. Like, that has to stop. That in itself is the stereotype. And I know people are like, but I like, it's like, okay, Gwendolyn's not strong. Not at all. I will persevere and I will see myself through. But as you mentioned, Dr. Tachi, we are human. And when we start selling these stories, it comes across that there is no humanity there. So therefore, the taking of our life, the showing of videos of our lives being taken and abused becomes just entertainment. That is somebody's baby. That is somebody's family member. Those are public lynchings on TV. We ain't got to watch that. Like that story, those moments shouldn't even be out there. But because we're not seen that way, there's no care or concern for how it is viewed over and over and over again, as if it's just another day in the neighborhood. Right? I would love for those struggle bus stories to go to the Netherlands. I need that to go away. I would love for that to go away.
Nice. All right. Let's continue the conversation. In both your research and experience, what helps Black viewers genuinely feel seen and respected by a show or film? And what breaks that feeling even when Black characters are present? So let me repeat that question. So in your research and experience, what helps Black viewers feel generally seen and respected by a show or film? And what breaks that feeling even when Black characters are present?
If I may, for mainstream media, I think the very fact that there are Black characters is often affirming and helps them feel a comfort level, unless these characters are somehow overly villainous and there's no balance to it. Even though, guess what, we can be villains too. And sometimes we make damn good villains. I think that there is this longing and wanting for us to be fundamentally good, right? And so I think when you have that in a film and you have those types of characters, particularly if it's a main character or a very strong supporting character, people feel good about that. But in terms of being heard, we have to remember when it comes to even news, things like news, when it comes to documentaries, when it comes to narrative film, these things are done ahead of time and edited to the liking of whoever is in charge of that. And so we have very little say in terms of that. So I don't know how seen we often feel. We have this superficial sense of being seen because there may be Black characters, etc. But are they really hearing us? Not so much, because they've done this without your input. There are a few projects that are like, hey, we want to build a movie with your input. Most of them are not like this. This is what we're offering you. We're not doing any research ahead of time to find out if this is what audiences like. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, we lose money. Oh, well, we won't do it again. So that is most of the way that the industry works. So here in comes independent media. And you knew I was going to put this in there. This is the only place where people can have their comments read, be greeted by the hosts, if it's live streamed, but if it's pre-recorded, people can go back in the comments, make comments, and then the creator or the author will like the comment, maybe respond to you. That is being seen and that is being heard. That is the future of cooperative and collaborative media. And that is the now of cooperative and collaborative media. So not to dump on mainstream media too much, because I think mainstream media is needed as well. How the hell soever, there is no such thing as my voice and my feelings being heard in anything mainstream media, because you didn't ask me in the first place. But how often do we come up? Dr. Vibe, you do this all the time. Gwendolyn, you do this all the time. Would you guys like X, Y, and Z? Put a 1 in the chat if you do that, or fill out this. Let me know what you think. You just did this now with the poll. You're asking for our input. Independent is the only place where you see that now. The mainstream tries to act like they're doing this, but they really don't care, because it's all about what makes them money. So even if individual hosts care, it doesn't matter. They work for a larger entity that could care less. So independent, my answer to that is independent is the only place where you can feel affirmed if you're watching things that affirm you.
Man, I gotta follow that.
I know. Like, even when we came on live today, I'm going, how is the hat? I like when she came in the green with the hat, going, geez, like should I just put end stream now, or just
No, but okay. So here's the deal. I'm gonna.
Don't
I'm
worry,
gonna
GR. Next time I'll let you go first. Go ahead.
No,
you got it. You got it.
No, you're good. You're good. Now here's the deal, though. So yeah, like I remember as a kid watching Miss USA, Miss America, and if they had a Black contestant, the phones were ringing off the hook. I mean, the cousins called. It was like, there's a Black lady, because we never saw ourselves. And we keep talking about representation matters. It does. So now we got movies and we're like, there's a Black person. They're also the first to die. You know what I mean? Like, Black people don't go searching for the sound. Like, what is that? What is that rustle in the woods? Let me go check it. We ain't doing that, right? So then you move forward and you create more movies where the Black person's like, I'm not checking that. I'm going to go. Right? So there may be some place where, you're like, I kind of get it. It's looking kind of real. And then you have a couple of characters that's just so not even close to being realistic. You're like, oh, so you're the token Black character. Okay, I got it. So it does make a difference. And I do agree with Dr. Tachi that, yes, the fact that you have independent media where people can participate in a program and also have a say in what is shown or what's reviewed or what the topics are. They can even come on. You can even call in. There is a difference there. And I get it. Mainstream media was where we were. But when you don't have a lot of diversity and different mindsets and stories in the boardroom, you get boring TV. Extremely boring vanilla TV. Ain't nobody want to watch that. And yes, I say ain't nobody want to watch that. Ain't nobody it's like there's nothing there. Look at the movies. There's a reason why a lot of these movies are failing, because it's the same old story. And because you don't have people in the room to help you create the stories, you want to go back and redo stuff. Like, no offense, He-Man again, Transformers. Well, they're just bringing theirs back out. It's like, we have been there and done that. And why? Because you don't want people who have the stories in the boardroom. Okay, have at it, kid. Have at it. Now, I do want to bring up one series that I thought was genius. Supercell. Have you guys seen Supercell?
Where I haven't watched it.
Have sickle cell anemia, and it's their superpower. Black folks, superhero.
I love it.
With sickle cell. I'm waiting for season 2. When we get more people, and I mean across the board, because there are so many stories that need to be told across the board. When you get people in the boardrooms, you give them the opportunity. Not that had it not been on Netflix, we wouldn't have seen it. Who knows, right? Because when it's really good, word travels, right? It travels, and YouTube is an outlet. You can catch a lot of great series on YouTube. You can. But when you have people who can take and turn what is an issue, because, sickle cell anemia is a serious thing, and flip it, you get these different kinds of ways of seeing the world. So, yeah, I mean, look, if you want to do something, I'm with Dr. Tachi. You go independent. Go independent. And I keep going back to, if something you want to see is not there, but you know somebody who wants to do it, then help them do it. That's how we're going to change this. Because I don't know the last time I turned on my TV to watch TV. Yeah.
May I? I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't.
I wanted
ahead,
to add
doctor.
to
Yeah.
I wanted to add what you're saying. So two things. We already know this, but they just came out with I wish I had thought to send it to you. I'll send it to you afterwards. But they just came out with a chart of what the most watched TV. YouTube was number one at I think 18 point something %. And I can't remember what was number two. But what got me was that YouTube is number one. So I will say this again for people who don't realize the most watched thing on a television set now is YouTube. They're not turning to any of the other channels that to watch. That is not where it is. So if you are thinking about producing, this is what you need to be looking at. You need to be a futurist and see what's coming down the pike. But you also need to understand what is happening now. And it's not trying to produce a cockamamie show for Netflix and keep begging them to take you. I hate bigotry. And you all know that's not a word, but it's my word. And I like it. I can't stand bigotry. People use bigotry like it's going out of style. They keep begging these people for a change. It's like, you've seen these things that like have some self-respect. That's what I'm saying. So why does your self-respect go out of the window when you're begging people who are not going to put you up? Because I'm telling you now, it takes a lot. I have met with Netflix, okay? It takes a lot for something to be, and we met with someone who has the in for Netflix, and we met with them, and this was with a named star, and it was still difficult. You think they're coming for you? And I'm not trying to say that because you're not important. I love you. But you think they're coming for you? And they're giving wahala and problems to people that are named stars? My friend, let's be real here. And this is why you can't keep begging people for these chances. Mm-hmm. Do it yourself. And this is another thing we have to do. This is us as well. We look at media as a way to make, quote, buku money. For a lot of us, it's not just about, it's about being famous, number one, and it's about making buku money, number two. Making a change or a difference is somewhere far down the road, number three. So you have to realize that being famous and being wealthy are two different things. Mm-hmm. You have to decide, are you wanting to simply be famous, or are you wanting to be wealthy? Because the two are mutually exclusive. That's one. But then you also have to understand that with the current state of the media, people are making a lot less money than they used to. The days of, oh, this is such and such billion, such and such million that this person got, those are very far and few in between. People that are well established in the industry, and is not you. So this is why you can look to YouTubers that I'm going to use one of my favorite cases at I Show Speed.
I was thinking that.
I Show Speed. I watch. Am I a gamer? No. Do I watch him? Yes, I do. Kai Cenat. Am I a gamer? No. Do I watch him? Yes, I do. These are people that have figured out how to make not only YouTube a stream of income, but to take that and to do multiple other things. It's the same thing with, what's his name, Mr. Chocolate Bar. Why am I forgetting it? You know who I'm talking about.
There's a lot of chocolate bars out there. I'm trying to figure out which one you're talking about.
Why am I blanking on his name? One of the biggest YouTube, Mr. Beast.
Oh,
Mr. Beast. Because I was thinking about his Feastables.
Oh, I was thinking about like chocolate, like
yeah,
tall, dark.
And I was not going to get in the middle of that conversation. I was going to let that be.
Wow, no, I was actually talking about real edible chocolate. Not.
Oh, okay.
Wow,
My bad.
I see where you're going, but no, Mr. Beast. He has taken, most of his money is not made from YouTube. I mean, he makes a fair amount, but it's not mostly from YouTube. So this is the state of media business we're in, where it's multiple streams by things that are not necessarily connected to your stream itself. Most of us are not going to make tons of money off of the stream or the video. It's going to be associated products and associated services that come with it. This is the mindset we have to have, and not the mindset of, oh, Netflix is going to pay for everything because you will be poor.
Right. If I may, since we're not talking about chocolate, but But I will say this. So I do look at my numbers like once a month, right? And I have seen that with me, and I do watch a few other people on YouTube who are adding QR codes. Say, hey, if you're watching on TV, scan this QR code to participate in the quiz or the survey. 11% of my viewers watch my shows on TV. And so I took to making sure that my stuff is in 4K.
100%.
Now, everybody don't have 4K TV. I get that. But we're talking about future proofing. We're talking about looking ahead for what is happening, for where people are going. And YouTube it's a very active place for entertainment across the board. You could be watching the kittens. I watched deer eat in Maine this past spring. You can watch whatever. But if you are thinking about putting all of your eggs in the legacy mainstream media bucket, you're going to be disappointed. You really will. And then I go back to this, and I know I said it once, but I'm going to say it again. What is your enough? Because as Dr. Tachi mentioned, some people want to be famous, whatever that is. Okay. And then some people want the money. Okay, great. You got to figure out what it is for you. If the whole idea is I'm going to jump on YouTube and people are going to like fawn over me and what have you, well, you may just need, 5 people and you'll be good with that. Okay, that's great. I mean, have at it. And then others of us are thinking about how do we move the world forward? How do we make change? How do we get more voices heard? Right? So everybody has their something, but figure out what it is that you're looking for. And no offense, but mainstream media, they are going the way of the dinosaur and they are struggling. But you see them trying to figure out what to do. I mean, even Netflix is putting on like podcasts. As Dr. Tachi mentioned, we're not going to Netflix for podcasts. Stop it. Full stop. Again, they'll come to you when the money is there. When the money and the people are there, the opportunity to siphon off something is there. They're like, oh, wait, I'll jump on this horse now. It's like, no, I don't need your bandwagon. I'm good. I'm perfectly fine. As I look at Shador Sanders, who said, I don't have to participate in the old way of doing NFL promotions. I am my brand. My daddy taught me that. So I'm going to do it. And of course they hate him for it, but whatever.
All right. Do I have permission to jump in for a second? There's a number of things got to catch up on both you ladies. I'm going to give you some grace for a few moments. Catch up on comments. So, hi, Gwen.
My mama.
Lisa Delight says the relatability to the storytelling and characters, as well as the balance between victim and victory, which allows the viewers to, quote, see themselves, unquote, accurately portrayed, feeling seen and affirmed in that storytelling.
That's Lisa, my soror.
There you go. Actually, who was I? There, I was having a conversation with someone the other day who's there's a lady, actually, Dr. Tachi, who I am helping with her coaching journey, who is a member of your sorority. Plus, she lives in Houston.
Wow.
There you go. So Lisa says, emotional me. Travel_more says, great, energizing conversation. Okay, this gentleman, I have to give him, because he goes, a lot of, quote, realistic, unquote, stories only amplify racist narratives. We need more imagination about what the world could be instead of trying to represent the current reality to detail, offer mirroring. I know what WS is. I know what you two know. You know what that is too. It says, I'm not falling the trap of infighting by saying that, but that is the playbook they're using at the minute to escape reparation related ideas. And a lot of these people get sweetheart deals and prime positioning over melanated Americans in corporate and political positions of power, speculatively as a disruption tactic using a black face.
These people are
got a lot to say.
Brilliant.
He says, I'm talking between melanated African continentals, melanated African diasporan immigrants, and naturalized citizens pitted against melanated American nationals. Very good comment.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're still going on. I have a video from the Reagan Institute that admits on a factual basis that melanated immigrants are, quote, imported, unquote, so affirmative action can benefit from over melanated Americans because they count as Yes, they even yes, and you probably didn't finish that last comment, but it says yes, and they even use uneven distribution of resources to stir infighting on top of that. True.
And we fall for it.
Opal Inspired, good to see you here, says, good morning, everyone. Yes, Supercell is amazing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yes.
Okay. Travel says, Bigo tree. When is the Dr. Tachi dictionary coming out? All right. Lisa says, love, what is your enough? There you go.
Mhm.
And also here, I Show Speed has a lot of followers as well.
He does.
Okay. Lots of comments here, family. I will. Wow. They're still going to. Lisa says, oh, wow, that was a great comment. Which one? These ladies are dropping knowledge bombs.
I think she was talking about the one that Bree for and Jeff put up. Mhm.
All right. So then let me ask another conversation, because I don't know if to drop one or two. You just fly with it. How should we think about the portrayals that use Black stereotypes for comedy? Where is the line between satire that punches up and jokes that reinforce harm?
Ooh. You know what? As a person who has been living in a Paul Mooney circle for the past month, that's a good one. And I don't know if you're part of the community, I believe you get more of a license to talk about certain things versus if you're on the outside. And here's why I say it. I had a friend just this past weekend. We had lunch together. And she said, Gwendolyn, I'm going to say it, but I can say it. This person was white garbage. And I was like, now here's the deal, though. We can say things when we're part of a community and it doesn't cause a stir versus if you're on the outside of the community, right? There are things that every single ethnicity, race does that is funny. Funny as in funny, haha. I mean, it is there. We often laugh about, like, if you go into a Black person's kitchen, how many paper towels are they going to use, provided they actually have paper towels, right? And there are just certain things that we don't do, and it's some way that we all come together because, like, yeah, my grandmama did that, and so did that, right? So I believe if you're in the community, you get more of an artistic license. And I don't know if I wouldn't call it harmful per se. And I'm going to think about it. Someone mentioned it, Drewski. When he did his skit about the Black church, I was like, no lies told. But they were heated. Them folks, and I said that, them folks was hot. Now, personally, I believe you only feel a certain kind of way when the shoe fits. Otherwise, you wouldn't put that shoe on, right? Because it didn't bother me none. I was like, right? So when you're inside, you can turn the mirror on yourself and you have no problems laughing about it. And I don't think that's harmful. But there's also a way, like when you think about Paul Mooney, how he did his comedy, and he talked about everybody, especially white people. You can have a conversation, and sometimes having the hard conversation requires some humor. Because, a lot of people are not adult enough to have it and not get in their feelings, and they shut down and they stop listening. But if I throw it at you, wrapped in something funny, maybe you'll actually listen to it. I don't know. Dr. Tachi, I'm going to let you throw your thoughts in there.
And I'm catching it. So I agree that often when these comments or jokes come out of a particular community, that if you are a member of that culture, you are given creative license and you are given a pass. I think what we have to be careful of is when these things are, quote, are number one, said in public for other ears to hear. Because it's one thing when we say it amongst ourselves, but then when it's said in public, it becomes something totally different. It becomes up for public discussion. Whatever is put out in public becomes up for public discourse and public discussion. And we have to measure what type of harm, if any, is being done because of those things. Now, there's a mix of different things with this example, but all we have to do is look at the roast of Kevin Hart. So all we have to do is look at that roast and what happened there and the jokes and some of the things that were allowed. And not all of them were by melanated people. I understand that, but there were some that were. And people felt some type of way, as folks like to say, about that, and rightfully so. And I think part of the thing is we've always lived in tumultuous times. Let's not act like this is any different. However, there is a different spin to what's happening now. And so because we are in an environment and in an atmosphere that is fostering so many hateful things, that is really adding to the detriment of people of color in general, particularly Black people, particularly melanated Black people, you feel personally attacked now when it's like, damn, you too, when it's your own. So I think we're hypersensitive right now, and I'm not saying sensitive in a bad way, but we're hypersensitive to the fact that things are going on, things are not working in our favor, and what we don't need for you, tap dancing Jack with chicken wings, is to come back and then make fun and make things worse for us, because the reason things are bad already is because of stereotypical things that are out there that people have internalized and seen as truth. So now you are just reinforcing that. So it's one thing when we're doing it amongst ourselves. It's another thing when you take that joke to the public sphere, and now they have opportunity to comment on it, repackage it, and sell it back to the people as truth. That is part of the issue. So, but I will also say that we have always used comedy as a way to overcome things, and comedy is a public space. So I understand that. I still think that even though it's comedy, sometimes comedians get a pass of that, oh, it's comedy. No, but comedy is also rooted in truth. So you have to be careful with that power.
All right. Anything you want to add, GR?
No, I didn't watch the Kevin Hart roast. I mean, I heard about it, and the jokes I did. One particular joke I did hear about. I thought, well, that's just. I have to say, I thought it was in simply poor taste. But if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything, and you allow that stuff to happen. So that's that. But yeah, I agree with that. I mean, there's comedy is I don't want to say it's different now. I don't want to say it's different now, but there is some difference. I mean, there is a place of more awareness. Like if you ever listen to some of the older Richard Pryor shows or Eddie Murphy, and again, like I said, I am knee deep in Paul Mooney, but Paul Mooney was also very much like a George Carlin, right? Like they were like seriously political people.
Yes,
in regards to their comedy.
Yes.
So there's a lot of truth there. That, if you're not ready for that, you don't want to. And I did get a chance to see him once in New York City, only because I absolutely loved his way of talking about these very serious topics, but not all people do that. So here's a question though I have for you, Dr. Tachi, since you mentioned when we do these things in public, since people are able sometimes to record these comedy shows, does that still impact like which joke you would tell to reduce any harm if there was harm? So like, say,
do you
for
mean
example,
from the standpoint? Go ahead.
Well, yeah. So like if you're in the community and you're making this joke, that if it was from some other person to be like, oh, that's stereotypical, that's blah, blah, blah. But when you're in a comedy show, I mean, technically that's also in the public, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And if someone films it, well, then now it's really all out there. So I go back to, are we at a place where we just, as you mentioned, we have to be more careful with which jokes we're telling?
This is the thing. I also don't believe in editing yourself for the taste of the public, because comedy is still art. And I don't believe in that type of censorship necessarily. But I think there is a time where you need to understand this is not the time and place for that type of thing. And that comes with having insight and being insightful as to what's happening. So that doesn't mean you never tell the joke. That means that this particular time may not be the right time to do it. And just because you're a comedian does not give you carte blanche to say whatever the hell you like and then say, oh, hide behind comedy. No, because again, as I said, comedy is often rooted in truth. So you need to stand behind your truth, but also know time and place. Here we go. The bonnet, do-rag, time and place.
Back to
Love
that.
it. Love it. All right, some more comments. Good morning, Jazzy. Says, good morning, beautiful people. Our friend again says, that's a really good point. You can't be influential without rapport. So when you're laughing together, that's the same construct. So people who can make you laugh can make you agree with ideas if they conflate the two. All right. We're going to jump to another quick poll. So with the results of this poll here, saying which type of Black story do you want to see more of? 50% said everyday Black life and joy. Others said Black success in business and probably leadership. So we're going to stop that. We're going to do another poll. So let me go this one. In the last year, how have Black images in media felt to you overall? 1, more positive and empowering. 2, about the same as before. 3, more negative or harmful. So if you are watching live, make a choice of 1, 2, or 3. We'll keep the tallies. We'll keep the poll running in the background. Someone's already voted. I know who that is already. So this is good. And let's get back to another conversation. So we went down the comedy. Let me do some comments, some more comments, because people are just flying in here. Let me just vote. So okay, we're good. We're good. All right. So here's another we went down the comedy road. Let's do this one. How are Black women and men represented differently in 2026 media? And what impact do those differences have on how we see ourselves and each other? Should I get up and leave now? Okay, bye.
You know what? Let me say this, Dr. Vibe. Let me say this really quick. When I look at Black men and Black women, it all depends on who's telling the story. Because when I think about Black men, and I know this is like a big lump of people, so let's just roll with it. But some of the stories that I see when it comes to Black men, it is still the same, old story dripped in patriarchy about how XYZ is not doing blah, blah, blah. And that's that, right? Whereas when I see stories from a Black woman's perspective, there is this higher level of enlightenment. It is far more positive, but it's also very independent of that patriarchy system. So like in your poll, we are what we see, right? So I love in my algorithm, because you can feed your algorithm. If you want to see puppies and cats doing all kinds of things, you can see it all day long. But in my algorithm, I keep getting fed these beautiful Black women that come in all shapes and sizes with all senses of style. And I am just, when I say I am dripping in it, I am dripping in it. From still images to video images. That's what I am getting. I love seeing the various ideas of beauty in my timeline. And I love how we are promoting that as well, right? And then the few times that I step out of my circle and go into some other circle, some of my friends, the stuff I see there is, well, you say you want a Black man and you want a husband, but you don't want to listen. And Black women can't do this because y'all won't listen. And Black women, it's like, okay, so you still doing that. You still in that old program that says you can be this mediocre dude who just shows up and thinks that you get to choose somebody. That's a no. Ain't nobody doing that 1950 program. Ain't nobody doing it. We not doing that. Like, at what point do you come up? So I just think in terms of the story, it depends on where it's coming from. And unfortunately, men as a whole are still on a program that was written some time ago. And they have not gotten the message that women have options. We have transportation. We have access to money. We need partnership. And because they haven't gotten that message that they need to come with some emotional intelligence and bring something more to the table versus, well, I got a job. Well, good for you, partner. That's great. Here's your sticker. Okay. Here's your badge for I can work. They haven't gotten that message. So some of what they put out is reflecting that old programming. Yes. Okay. I need to step off my box. I'm sorry.
No, that was great. So I think that, 100% to what Dr. G says. You're Dr. G, whether you accept it or not.
Oh,
You're
I
Dr.
can
G.
get a nice certificate and print it up and get my regalia because other folks are doing it.
No, you want to go there?
Well, we could go there. You could go to that
just a little sidelight. Did you see the video that Torre put out?
I did.
The interview. Well, do we want? We'll go on. We'll go top of this off because that's just going to take the conversation right off center here. We'll talk about that. There was just you two. Did you see the interview that Mark Lamont Hill did with somebody recently?
Yes, with the president and vice president of that made up university. I did.
Okay. All right. Good. We'll leave it there. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's stay on the course. Yes. Dr. Tachi.
Focus. Yes. So I'm off now. Repeat the question because I will.
I know. You see, and that subject can veer off so easily. Okay.
Sorry.
So how are Black women and Black men represented differently in 2026 media, and what impact do those differences have on how we see ourselves and each other?
So question, when you say reflected differently, meaning differently than they were in the past or different from each other?
In 2020, I'm just thinking about using, I guess, compared to the past, in 2026 media compared to the past, and what impact these differences have on how we see ourselves and each other, Black men and women, each other, and Black people as a whole.
I certainly think we are portrayed, Black men and Black women are portrayed differently than they were in the past. All we have to do is look at the narratives that were there. Some of the things, like some of the shows, I'm not even talking about back to the 50s, et cetera, where there were far between of us on television, but back to let's take it to the 70s, where some of the things that were permissible on television then were like, oh gosh, that didn't age well. Right. So we definitely see some differences in terms of portrayals of Black men and Black women. I think that some of them, though, are still rooted in the same thing because mainstream media has not moved on from the way things were in the past. And let me tell you why, because they are risk adverse. They like what has always worked. Now, what causes them to change is when the audience gets up in an uproar or they find out things are not selling because that's not the narrative that people believe in anymore, right? So things slightly start to change, but look who's still in charge. Most of the people that are still in charge are from that era of debauchery. And so they still think using that same computer from back then. So if you still think that way, regardless of whether or not things have changed socially, you still fund what aligns with what you believe and what you're used to. So that's why I say we still see some of that in terms of our images, right? But let's now go to, and that's mainstream, but let's now go to independent. Like G, I have seen some amazing things. People creating wonderful series, wonderful narrative series. I just got finished watching on YouTube, I can't remember her name, but a Black woman who has a travel series. You don't see us on the Travel Channel or any of these places, HGTV, home series. So I've been watching a lot of travel series and home series that we produce on YouTube. And it's a wonderful thing to see. There's a particular aesthetic that we have when we decorate homes, whether it's based in something that is cultural or based on things that we knew when we grew up. There is a difference in the way we make space home, because for so long, a lot of us have been made to feel like there is no home for you. So you try and make that home inside the four walls of your house. And it's reflected in the way we decorate and in these shows. I think it's wonderful. Same thing with cooking shows. How many Black cooking shows do you see on mainstream television? You don't, but you turn on YouTube and you see a whole bunch of wonderful characters and people that are doing things with food in different ways, and not just African-American food, but all types of food from the diaspora. It's wonderful. So when you get away from mainstream media, when you get away from the narrative that they believe and the only narrative they'll fund, you can find some wonderful things. Look, Dr. Vibe, look at these things. Where have you seen a Dr. Vibe on mainstream media? Where have you seen Gwendolyn G.R. Houston, Dr. Gwendolyn G.R. Houston Jack on mainstream media? Far and few in between. So have the images changed from back then in mainstream? A bit. I will say yes. But there's still the underpinning of what they believe, what people, that the powers that be believe, and that's what they will fund. But you don't have those constraints over here on the independent side. And I'm seeing some wonderful things produced by Black women, by Black men, both narrative and nonfiction.
Okay. Just want to share with everyone, we are running a poll right now, and some of you have voted. In the last year, how have Black images in media felt to you overall? Right now, number one is in charge, more positive and empowering. And then we have, which is 67%, and then we have 33% more negative or harmful. We'll be running the poll in the background, so please feel free to vote while we're running this conversation live. Also, we've got comments here. Definitely 3 based on movies, content, and ads I've seen from TikTok. I have screenshots of a man throwing an object at a melanated man like a prank, and other screenshots of similar symbolism. It was making a joke or fun and removing the seriousness on how melanated people were treated in each case, though symbolism or directly. Also says, that is what mainstream media, not Black media. Hopefully I read the survey correctly. You did. Travel says, you have confetti. They don't have confetti.
Who else does confetti? Live. You can see live confetti with G.
So that's why she's got 1K. She's got it. She's got the look. All right. Also, we've gotten to a point where disambiguation of a Black person, local population, cultural behavior, or melanated global collective, where you can be racist even without involving us. Like Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars Episode 1. Perfect example. That actor almost unalived himself, he said, but the depiction was deeply coded with African style stigma and stereotypes. Yeah. Imperfect speech, clumsy movement, lack of intelligence, etc. That things that WS would associate to melanated people, and all without anyone involved being melanated directly. And Travel More says, seeing Black folks traveling, building homes, and cooking is amazing. It is.
Yes.
It is.
We do things like everybody else.
And many times better.
I was going to say
right.
that.
Well, no, but when I say we do things, I'm saying we engage in stuff just like anybody else would engage in stuff. But yes,
absolutely.
I agree better. Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. 100%. Right. Another conversation piece here. And I think.
Wait.
Go ahead.
If I may, since it was mentioned about how we're seeing it, if you change where you're getting your stories, it will change how you see the world. So if people are still locked in to legacy media, you are not going to see anything other than what they've been pushing for the past whatever years. If you flip and go into independent media, since you mentioned traveling shows, I watched Choose to Travel, this beautiful young couple out of Queens, New York. They have some of the most amazing travel videos. Most amazing. You can, as Jazzy mentioned, you can tailor your algorithm. You can tell the system what to send your way, but you have to change where you're getting your messaging, because it's all messaging. We're not going to lie about that, right? It's all messaging. But if you change where you're getting it, if you get out of mainstream media and some of these other social media outlets, now YouTube is one, but still, this is so large. You can get what you really want to find. You can find it. And you can see the images, and it will feed you more people that are just like that. Like I said, my timeline is filled. Okay, so I have hair, but not a lot of hair, but it's been giving me all these Black women who are hairstylists going into how to care for your natural hair. And I told this one young lady down in Fort Lauderdale, if I ever grow this out, she is going to help me get it together. If I ever go back to growing it out. But you need to change where you're getting your messaging, and that'll change what you see.
And you're reading my alleged mind, because here's my next conversation piece. When we look beyond the US and Canada, what stands out to you about how Black people are represented in global media? Ooh. And what can North America learn from those examples, if anything?
What can
go ahead if you're going to go ahead.
I honestly don't know if I have a full answer. I don't know, only because I'm at a place where I just knew we would be further along here in North America, right? I just knew that we'd be moving towards the future. And for the US specifically, we are moving backwards. Take it back. Some of us are trying to move backwards, and the rest of us are fighting to move forward. And so what's happening here is like, we're like at this standstill. I mean, I just try to ask, I've been sitting with myself asking, why is it exactly that people are so upset with Black folks? Like, I'm just trying to understand. You wouldn't have half of what you have in this country had we not brought it with us, preserved it, and then decide to share it. Like, who doesn't need soap? Who doesn't want seasonings, right? So I'm just trying to figure out, like, how we move these waters.
I'm sorry, because there are some who don't want soap or seasoning.
I'm just saying. Now, when I go out and look at media from other places, specifically something off of the continent of Africa, I'm kind of like, man, I just want to pack up my bags and go. Now, of course, the grass is always greener. Okay. I recognize that I am a Black American, right? I am indigenous to this country, right? But I don't have an answer, Dr. Vibe, because I'm conflicted is where I'm standing.
More than
I'm
fair.
Gonna let Dr. Tachi take this one.
Yeah.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
So when we look at the images that are being exported about Black North Americans, and I'm including all three countries here, there is obviously more heavier slant when it comes to Black people in the US than showing Afro-Mexicans or Afro-Canadians. There's more Black American things that you would see. And I think that while it's wonderful to show the art, because it's like, I love the fact of African-American arts being exported around the world, particularly in Africa, because there's an African connection. So it's interesting to see what was done with the tools that originally came from the continent, how they were remixed and added to, and now it's come back. So there's this trade that I think is amazing, that I love to see. I do think, though, that the emphasis is entirely too much on the arts, because that means you're only reducing Blacks or Black people in America to the cultural artistic products that they produce. And there's so much more. There is obviously there's politics. There are educational things as well. I would love to see more of those types of things, but that can only happen if Black people in America start to value making more things that are outside of the realm of entertainment. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but we like to say, oh, well, that doesn't get funded, but do we fund it? We don't. We don't work hard enough for it to be funded. And when I say we, I'm saying Black people in America. I'm not indigenous to America, but I am a Black person in America. So I'm saying the collective we don't work hard enough for those stories to be exported. The other things other than just the entertainment. Yeah, look, the music, the dance, all of that is very important, but there is more than that. And I mean, I would say the same thing the other way. When people people romanticize Africa like nothing else and think that, first of all, they think everybody was kings and queens. Sir, ma'am, you were not. Not everybody. Also that, oh, this is African dance, when most of the dance we learn in the US is Ivorian, Guinean, or Senegalese. And there are 54 countries that have different types of dances within those countries. So I like to think that the exchange of Black products and Black images is very heavily centered on the arts and mostly the performing arts. And I'd like to see it go toward other things.
Okay. All right. Let's see where else we're going here. So, comment here. Recently, I learned we are the source of indigo dyeing fabric. Denim jeans could not be without us. They patent the riveted pockets, so that's why we don't get credit. Jazzy says, I think it's definitely tailored to your own algorithm. So things you seek out are the things that you see on your timeline, and corrects with tailored. All right. Good stuff. Dr. Tachi, do you have something at the top of the hour?
What's today? Oh, damn.
Friday.
Is today Friday?
Yes.
It's all right. Let's keep going. I will
okay. All right. So I'll see if
I will just let them know.
Yeah. Two more well, geez, I could go on forever, but let's go. Let's go with this. For each one of you, what are one or two questions you wish every Black viewer would ask themselves when watching or scrolling to quickly assess whether an image of Black people is empowering or damaging?
That's a good one. If I may, I'm gonna probably use whatever I use for my own filter, and it's 3 questions. It is it kind? Is it true, and is it necessary? Right? I always go there. So like when I see stuff, it's like, okay, so what's the point of this? Right? Like why are we sharing that? But that's my filter for how I see images in social media and what have you. So I often am not on social media. I just look like I'm social. No, I would much rather sit down with some people and do something on the positive side. What I see as positive, like pushing people forward, that kind of thing, versus being engaged in certain things. But yeah, I go back to, is it kind? Is it true? And is it necessary? That's where I go.
That's trademarkable. I'm not joking. That's really good.
Well, it's a life advice. It's life advice, right? So in terms of communication, we were always taught that before you open your mouth, because you cannot unring the bell, you should ask yourself those 3 questions. So is it kind? Is it true? And more importantly, is it necessary? Because it can be kind, it can be true, but is it necessary? Probably not. Right? Or maybe it's not kind. It's like, okay, then not. Right? So it's like a way to sort of filter before you open your mouth and say something. Think it through. And then you're like, you know what? It ain't even worth it. So I'm going to stay on mute. Sometimes being on mute is all you need,
Dr. Tachi.
Very true. You don't always have to talk. And many of us need to learn that it's not always necessary to talk. So I'll go back to two things that my mother used to do with us when we were little. So we were TV addicts. Okay. We could barely sit and eat dinner because we had to have the TV on. Hence why I am the way I am today. I think I turned out kind of okay. My mother, whenever we would be watching something, which was mostly 24 hours a day, she would come in and say, "What are you learning from this?" And we're like, "Oh, Africans always trying to teach you something and have you, what are you learning from this?" So I think that's an answer that we can, or a question we can ask ourselves. What are you learning from this? And then another thing she always used to say, we would ask, so we're like, can we stay up and watch the American Music Awards or whatever the thing would be, because maybe Michael Jackson was going to be on it. And she would look at it and she said, "They've made it." Meaning you need to go to sleep so you could get up and go to school so you too can make it. So sometimes when you're watching, what are you learning from this? And if it's nothing that is significant, that is moving the conversation forward, sometimes it's fine to watch things purely for entertainment's sake. But I think we do too much of that, where we are now needing to be entertained for everything because that has what we have been used to. So if it's not pushing the things forward, especially if you're grown and you're trying to start a business or you're trying to be something and you're sitting there watching other people, it's like, they've made it. I'm good one for saying, whatever, they've made it. Let me go and do what I'm supposed to do. So I think these are two things that we can apply to our viewing and consideration of images of us in media.
Right. Let me see if I can get two more conversation pieces in for both you. And thank you for, again, giving us your time. Here's one. How important is it that those creating Black characters and stories have lived experience of Blackness themselves? And where can thoughtful outsiders contribute without causing harm?
I like how she takes a sip because I'm like, wait, what? Okay, so are we?
Okay, you want me to repeat?
Yes.
Okay. How important is it that those creating Black characters and stories have lived experience of Blackness themselves? And where can thoughtful outsiders contribute without causing harm?
Oh, that's the part. I was like, thoughtful outsiders. I was like, are they thoughtful? Sorry. Okay. So thoughtful outsiders. Okay, I'm not. See, I'm doing the whole 1, 2, 3 thing. Like, do you need to say something? Here's my thought. When we are creating a character, I believe it is best to have actually lived it versus just assuming, because when you make some of these assumptions, I typically have found in the classes I have taken with people who are writing that they're pulling from some stereotype when they create this deal. Think about back in the 90s, those chain emails where there was a mother who had the kid who was abused 8 times and this and this and this and that happened. It was like, look, life is already tragic as is. You don't have to make it up like that. It's not even necessary. Life is already filled with tragic things. So if we're going to tell a story, I would hope that we would start from a place of what we have actually lived versus taking someone else's story, which people have done, and then they, go off board and make it so extreme. It's like, that's not needed, right? It's not needed. There are Black stories that are not dripping in, as we say, being on the struggle bus. Those stories do exist. And people are like, yeah, every Black family is missing a father. Well, those are lies. My daddy was in the house. Like I said, my daddy made us eat at the table, and Dr. Tachi, no TV. No TV, no cell phone.
Well, I couldn't have lived with you.
You know what I'm saying? And we're talking into our 40s. He was like, come on to the table. So we know that those stories, they still exist. Not everybody is doing these things. So I believe when we're writing these Black characters, we typically do start from what we know, versus just taking what's out there. Because if you decide to go down the path of, I'm going to create this story, or I'm going to tell something that I'm adjacent to, you start assuming, and you start, without knowing it, bringing in stereotypes, because you're only seeing what you believe is happening. You don't really know. Now, for people who are thoughtful, I don't know that you can come in as a person on the outside and try, and I'm using the word try, that's intentional, try to tell this story. I don't get it. And here's why I don't get it. Do we all have the same experiences? Yes, but also no. There are just certain things that I can talk with my white family members and how they were raised. They didn't get the same messaging, right? Like it's just not, it's not there, because there are some cultural differences that's not going to come across if you have never walked in these shoes. And here's my last piece before I throw it to Dr. Tachi. I am currently working on getting some certification in the wine world, because I am an educator. I believe in getting knowledge from the horses, and that way you can speak without assuming and making up stuff. But somewhere in there, and I said it out loud and I caught myself, I also said out loud, I want to have this when I walk into the room, people take me seriously. Because why? I'm a Black chick in a room full of wine and people who enjoy wine. And Black women, stereotypically, historically, aren't always taken serious, even with the credentials, right? So if you were a white guy, could you write that story? I don't think you could. I don't think you could write that story and accurately capture the pain and the constant thought of having to jump through hoops just because of the skin you were born in and the gender that you were given. I don't know if you can do that.
You may, Dr. Tachi.
Thank you. I would not even just limit that to outsiders of the culture. I would also say people who are supposedly inside the culture, you should know where your limitations lie as well. Case in point, I always wondered, before Tyler Perry got more of a writer's room, remember, he was writing everything himself. When he wrote the show Sisters, I was like, what do you know about being a millennial Black woman? Nothing. That is not your experience. So how are you writing for millennial Black women? And it was painfully obvious in the way the show came off initially. I was like, that's not what a millennial Black woman would say or have. So simply, and we have a problem doing this, simply because we're Black, we think we can write any Black story. My dear, you cannot. I remember when I was at Howard, there was this guy I knew who was like, hey, I wrote this story about this Nigerian. I'm like, you're not Nigerian. Why would you write a story? That's as dumb as me thinking that I can write a story about people from Botswana. Oh, because I'm African. Never mind, I'm Nigerian. I can write about people in Botswana. You can't. So unless you've lived the culture, and I would even say, for me, I would be pensive about writing something about Nigeria, being that I don't live and have never lived in Nigeria, even though I was there every year in summers, and I was there all the time, and I grew up in Nigerian culture, but I'm not there, and I didn't grow up there, and there's certain things that you can only get by being there. So I would be apprehensive about writing a story unless I had a writing partner that could talk about that and I could add from a certain point of view. But so just because you are quote unquote in the culture doesn't mean you have the right to write about everything in the culture because you don't have the experience. So for people that are well-meaning, that are outside of the culture, what can you do? You can fund the stories. We'll take your money so that you can fund the stories and we can tell them the way we best know how. If you really want to help and believe, rather than profiting off of it yourself because you don't know, go ahead and fund people who can tell those stories.
Okay. We'll do one more conversation piece, but just some comments here. Jazzy says, exactly. And then We have some other comments here. I see images through the lens of code on or off. On code is constructive for group identity, strength, cohesion, and mental health and power. Off code is basically infighting or distraction.
I'm convinced this guy is AI because he's too good. He's too good.
So here's adding the question. My question is, why do you, as an outsider, want to create stories you haven't lived?
To make money off of them
Yeah,
because they're profitable.
Exploitation.
Yeah. Also, I focus on what I like, where I agree, and what I appreciate about other melanated people as on code. Okay, I debate truth only with those who have rapport. Otherwise, it's not constructive. Travel, Moore says, thoughtful outsiders should remain thoughtful. And not all user accounts are melanated people. Some are imposters impersonating us to sow division.
Bots,
Agreed.
absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
All right. And we've had some of them here today. So when we deal with them, no problem. All right. So let's give you one more conversation piece. If we checked back in 2036, what concrete signs would tell you that Black representation in media has truly progressed beyond just having more Black faces on screen?
You want to tackle it?
You know what? I believe I will attempt to tackle it, because here's where I go when I think about how we defining success and things of that nature. You know, just this past month, because it is the 31st, right? I have been enjoying a lot of Sidney Poitier and Bill Cosby movies. Now I had them on DVD because I wanted to own those masterpieces as well as others. But I think to myself, when they created it, they didn't know that in the future, younger people who probably would have never heard of them would find their movies and be just mesmerized by their movies, right? Be inspired by their movies. So when I think about where we may see ourselves in 2036, Lord bless, and Lord willing, I believe that our history, if we continue to archive it and preserve it, that those in the future will, of course, enjoy it. And even though, like, however you want to define success is how you define it, I believe that still having your story available and having access to your stories, having access to the images, having access to the books and things of that nature, that I find as being successful. Like that's how I'm going to define it. Even if whatever happens, happens. If we have that, then I'm feeling pretty good about it. And if I may just do my own little plug here, I'm currently working on preserving our family's stories by sharing old film, old videotapes that have been digitized so that my family members that are here now and those to come will be able to see where they came from and see their great grandmother and all of that. So for me, just having preservation and being able to put it into the future, hopefully YouTube is still around. That to me is successful, because if you have access, then you can keep telling the story, and you can keep telling people this is where you came from, this is where you're going, this is what the possibilities are. That's how I'm going to define that.
I love that. Thank you. I love that because historians are so important. Family historians, keepers of our history in general, I think is very important, which is why I'm so excited to be, I guess we're shameless plugging, but that's why I'm excited to be partnered with Nikita on the National Black Debutante Project, because she is documenting the history of Black cotillions in the US. And it's something that's not often talked about. It's something that for some people, they think it sows division. But my thing is, even if that's what you think, it's still part of our history and it still needs to be preserved. So I love what she's doing with the traveling exhibits. And I see, as G is saying, that is a way going forward in terms of what we're going to see in 3036 and beyond, 3036, 2036 and beyond. So I think that's what we're going to see. I also believe that if I'm looking at things the way things are going, if I'm looking at it right, we will definitely by that time be our own production studios. It's starting to happen, but I think the more people realize that mainstream outlets are not here to be our friends and that everyone does not have an equal say or even a chance to enter mainstream media, the more you realize that if I need something produced, I have to become my own production studio and or need to team up with other people who have their production outlets, their production studios, so we can get these stories told. We're already seeing it, but it is not the norm yet. I think by 2036, we're going to see a lot more of that.
Love it. That is a great way to end an epic conversation. Thank you, ladies, for your time. Final results of the poll. In the last year, I've seen Black images in media felt you overall. 80% say more positive and empowering. And 20% say more negative or harmful. All right. So that is it for today's conversation. All right. Let's see what we do here. All right. Let's do it this way. So, GR, thank you for making time in your tour. hang out with us. Actually, I thought about you recently because, as you know what, I don't drink alcohol, but I was with a group of people. We went to a winery about 2 hours from where I live. Amazing. We were in a wooden building that was over 200 years old.
I need to get up to Canada.
if and when you get up here, definitely a place that was a really wonderful experience. Really, really. I thought about going, GR, this is a GR spot.
It is.
GR spot. Big time. Any other things that you're working on that you want to share with us?
Well, right now, the one thing I'm working on is I am working on my book that I put on my list 2 years ago. Okay. I have a teaser that's dropping, should be sometime in August, because I'm like, I need to capture the, what do you call it? The book cover. You know, as a photographer, I'm going to create my own cover. So I need to capture that. But that's the last thing I'm working on. Yeah. And we'll see if I go to level 3. I got to pass level 2 first. But
there you go.
You will.
Dr. Tachi, anything that, I know there's GR's information there. I put there's so many, but I just put 2 of them, but she has more, but those are the main ones. Dr. Tachi?
So tonight, Mediascope is coming back because this is the 11th anniversary of Mediascope. So we'll be having an 11th, a real low-key 11th anniversary show. Guess who will be there? G will be there. Serena will also be there.
Oh, yes, Serena Wills. Yes.
Yes. And again, this was so low-key, I didn't really put it out to many people. But if you're available, Dr. Vibe, we'd love to have you as well.
What
Fantastic.
time?
So 7.
Yeah.
If you're available, I'll send you the link.
Send me the particular. Yeah, absolutely.
So we're just going to talk. We're just going to have some reminiscent moments and talk, since you all are Mediascope massive, but we're also going to do a few stories, as you know, as well. So that's
why do I feel G will have a glass of something in her hand?
Yes, please bring a glass of your favorite libation so we can toast to 11 years, because it's not just my 11 years, it's your 11 years as well. Okay. Nobody does this by themselves, as G said. 100%. So we have that on tap for tonight at 7 p.m. on my YouTube channel, the Indie Soup YouTube channel, all the places that I usually am. You can watch for that. Also, get ready. A lot of people ask me things because, I have the series Be More where I teach you how to be better, wiser, smarter, just all the with your videos, live streams, and content. People are always looking for those and they're asking me questions. Well, guess what? An academy is coming. The Camera Ready Academy is coming soon. So you can learn from me how to do these things so we can show up better on camera, because I'm tired of this in 2026, folks. You've had 6 years since the pandemic to get better. And
pandemic, yes. Yes.
You had time. So,
Absolutely.
But if I'm going to talk about you, I have to help you. So that's what we have coming.
I love you. Nice tagline. You should remember that one.
Which one?
You just mentioned it. If I can't.
Oh, if I'm going to talk about you, I have to help you.
Remember that. I'm serious. No, I'm serious. Use that.
I say it all the time. Yeah.
Well, write it down so you don't forget it, though.
That's I won't. I use it all the time.
All right.
Because I talk about people. I'm kidding. I don't.
All right. Some other final comments here. Okay. Our main contributor says absolutely one of the most important messages to my mind to get out of our phenotype is the importance of personal agency in bettering the culture, not sitting back idly while others do. Another gentleman here says, good morning, everyone. Okay, you're gonna have to watch the replay. And then if we all work together in similar directions for the same purpose, our progress could happen faster. Not gonna disagree on that.
Yeah.
Not gonna disagree.
That's Miss Elise that you see that said good morning. Good morning, Miss Elise.
There she is. All right. Good stuff. All right. So also some quick things. If you want to get a hold of Jonathan Juiceman Shaw, jonathanshaw.com. That's JONATHANO Shaw.com. Also, you can catch him on Sundays on the Talk About on Flow 98.7, which is based out of Toronto. You can catch it on flow98.7.com. Mr. Ryan Knight, Ryan O'Neill Knight. That's Knight with a KN, not an N. And if you want to find about moi, taplink.cc/the DRVIBESHOW.com. And you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro-Caribbean Business Network on YouTube, and Ryan Knight on YouTube. Ladies, this was epic.
Yes.
We have to do it before the end of the year and see where we've gone media-wise near the end of the year.
Something tells me we'll be in the same place, but I'd love to come back and talk about it.
Oh, have faith, Dr. Tachi. Have faith. Have faith. Be real, girl. Be real. So let's finish it off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller to get stronger. Block assumptions. Aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both. And as always, make it better. And to these wonderful ladies, thank you again for hanging out with us. It's appreciated. Really enjoy the conversation. God bless. Peace be all. Keep good. And G, wine glass. Bye.